Hello and welcome to your favorite YouTube channel, Beyond the Real. My name is Alex and today we're going to be talking about Free Fire. So for those of you that don't know, Free Fire was released in 2016. It was directed by Ben Wheatley and it stars Brie Larson, Cillian Murphy, Armie Hammer, and Charlton Copley, just to name a few. Free Fire is essentially about tensions rising at an arms deal between the buyers and the sellers, and of course they get into like a little back and forth, and then eventually they start shooting at each other, and then it becomes a quest for survival basically. The cast is great because everyone in this movie is like a really good actor. To start off, the MVP award for best character in the movie would have to go to Armie Hammer's character Ord. So yeah, Armie Hammer is probably the standout character for me because his character Ord is probably the one that's the most prepared in the gunfight, and he has some of the best dialogue, and his interactions with most of the other characters like Frank for sure is probably the standout interaction because he's always like cracking jokes about how he's old, and then he kind of befriends Chris, Cillian Murphy's character, and once you see how that plays out in the movie, like it kind of makes me like him a little bit more. So yeah, the standout performance in this movie to me, I would probably say Charlton Copley, because I mean, he's essentially just being Charlton Copley. He has some really great dialogue, and his interactions with other characters are just really great. Whether he's talking to Armie Hammer's character Ord, whether he's trying to give his sales pitch and he gets mad, it's essentially really funny. So one of the great things about this movie is the camera work. The thing that makes it so cool is that like you'll find characters like taking cover and you'll be like looking around the corner at them. Another thing that's really awesome is the fact that there are a lot of shots where a character pulls out a gun and you like aim down the barrel with them, so it essentially feels like you become the character shooting another character. And yeah, another great thing about this movie is that it's not overly graphic. So yeah, like people are getting shot constantly, but it's not like watching like but it's not like watching like Django Unchained or something where literally every time someone gets shot, like you see like blood splurting everywhere. So yeah, this movie's pretty great. You hear a lot of people getting roasted and people die if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, another thing that I thought was kind of funny was the sound effects, like the little whizzing sound effects that play whenever a bullet is fired and you hear it like whiz past the character. I thought that was one thing that wasn't necessary, but was a really funny addition. And another thing that's really awesome is the sense of realism in this movie, because Ben Wheatley, the director, actually studied like actual police standoffs and shootouts, so it feels a little bit more realistic between people taking cover and not shooting like a million bullets. So I think that was one thing that was really cool. Contradiction time. This movie might have been a bit hard to follow for some because it gets a little hard to find out, or it gets a little hard to realize like who's shooting who, and you get a little lost in because you'll see like characters behind cover getting shot at, but you don't necessarily know who's shooting at them. So that's one of the weaknesses of the camera movement. And yeah, another thing that this movie kind of loses its momentum halfway in, but I mean that's kind of expected though, isn't it? Because I mean most movies do tend to slow down because they can't be all balls to the wall the whole time. And as someone who really admires Brie Larson and her work, I have to say she's great in this movie, but her character feels really out of place. And also another thing about the dialogue is that this movie's rated R, so of course there's going to be a lot of swearing in it, so keep that in mind. So just to close it out, should you watch Free Fire? I hope I convinced you to, because this is honestly one of the best movies of 2016, and it did not get enough attention at the box office because it's actually considered a box office bomb. So before you leave, could you leave us a like the video? If you didn't like the video, you could probably rewatch it, see if you liked it the second time. If not, give us a like, and rewatch it until you do like the video. So once again, thank you for hanging out. My name is Alex, this is Beyond the Real, and I hope to see you again.